Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I am Tristan.
I am Nick.
And I'm Zach.
All right. So, how is life?
Good, pretty good.
It's going.
Excellent. All right. Well, before we dive into the selected choices this week, which were a particularly eclectic group of films, I must say. Which sometimes that's how we roll. But before we dive into that stuff, have either of you guys watched anything recently that you want to talk about or mention or anything?
I saw that Judas and the Black Messiah.
Excellent.
It's pretty good.
I heard of that. Is that on Netflix or
It's
Amazon?
HBO Max.
HBO Max is a lot of good shit. I've noticed because one thing I've been watching is The Sopranos, and I got HBO Max for it. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, the same day as theater thing's kind of the selling point.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then they're getting that Zack Snyder's Justice League cut too, which looks way cooler.
Oh yeah, 4 hours long too.
Oh man.
All right.
I just wish they got it right the first time,
Fucking
but,
Yeah.
but I know that sometimes the
thing that upsets me too is it's a lot of Josh Whedon's fault, and the whole Josh Whedon's been getting fucked in media.
Yeah.
And I'm of course a huge Buffy, Firefly, Angel fan, so it's kind of heartbreaking for me to see that shit. But at least, I mean, not saying what he's doing is what he did or is doing is great, but it's at least not like sexually harassing people. I mean, he cheated on his wife, I guess, with some actresses and shit, and he's a scumbag, but gotta separate the art from the artist sometimes, and I feel this is a case where it's doable. Buffy still holds a special place in my heart. My puppy's named after Buffy. I mean, God. Fucking Joss Whedon, of course he has to be a dick.
Well, Buffy is still a classic, though. I mean, it is an outstanding show. And Angel and Firefly are, I mean, I can admire that he has written some excellent work. So
yeah, and he even got, because he directed the first 2 Avengers, and he got in trouble again in back in 2015 with Age of Ultron for this shit as well. But then he got even in more trouble with this new Justice League shit. So
yeah,
and then it's also apparently just been going on since Buffy. So
the guy doesn't have the greatest reputation, unfortunately. But
yeah, his career's over.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to come back from this kind of thing ultimately. But
and he did start a HBO series too, which is like an all-female type thing. He like his whole selling point was like feminism and shit, and it turns out he's like a fucking hypocrite that hates women and shit like that. So
yeah, well, that's kind of like, it does make me think of, like, for example, like the whole, like, that painting of like the girl with the pearl earring, which like is a beautiful painting that a lot of people have fallen in love with. And I love that painting as well. The guy who painted it was a kind of a piece of shit, but so be it. I mean, Picasso was terrible to women as well, but he changed art as we know it. I mean, he created the whole concept of like dimensional art or whatever, and just, I mean, what can you say,
Yeah.
So.
Girl with the pearl earrings, an art collection you can get in Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh my God, I'm drooling on myself. Whoa. Yeah, I'm drinking a lot of water lately, so
It's good for you.
it is. Yeah, I've been dehydrated, so
And I'll say before you go, one movie I watched that was a Red Letter Media recommendation was The Kid Detective.
Kid Detective.
Have you guys heard of that one or?
Only
I've
because
heard
of
of it.
Red Letter Media.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it a lot.
I've heard of it. Although I don't really know anything about it. I've heard the title though. I mean, I've seen it pop up a few times on like a couple people's like lists of like their favorite films of last year. So
Yeah, it's good.
yeah, that got me curious about it.
It's with Adrian Brody, and he plays like the synopsis is like he's now 30 years old, but when he was a kid, he was like a Hardy Boy kind of detective doing like you know the solving mysteries of like stolen fundraiser money, missing cats and shit, like Hardy
Yeah.
Boys type shit. And then like eventually one of the mysteries was like a missing girl mystery, and of course he's a child, so he can't solve that shit. And they put a lot of, I mean, not to get too deep into the weeds of the whole movie and plot, but it made him basically a 30-year-old alcoholic still doing the PI shit. And it's just so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's just really dry, really bleak humor. Like it's a comedy as well as like a little mystery movie, but there's just a lot of funny setups and payoffs. It's like one of the funnier ones that made me just laugh out loud was he was going to like follow a lead into a biker gang. And what it is, what a lot of the jokes are just long setups. So he's like, getting his way in, walking through the halls, dodging creepy biker dudes, getting past. He got like, into the he's talked to the leader. He's like, have you seen this kid or have you been selling to this kid? And he's just like, no. And as a typical movie detective, you'd think, oh, he's gonna start pressing him more, and then he's like, okay, and then walks out and and he talks to his like, it's also has that noir trope of there's a girl there waiting for you in the office. And she helps him with the mystery they're trying to solve, and she just asks, so what was it? And then he was just like, no, he wasn't there. There's just one little line of a huge buildup of a joke that it was just funny. There's a bunch of those, and it's hilarious.
It sounds really funny, actually.
Yeah, I recommend it. Definitely a watch.
Nice. All right.
What
about you, Zach?
And then one little line too that I found funny is like, his parents and his brother and shit are all, kind of giving him shit because he's a he's a failed kind of detective, still doing this thing since he was a kid, and he's defending himself, and he was just like, I've solved over 200 mysteries instead of like cases or things like that. It's just like, mysteries. As an adult, he referred to him as mysteries. I was like, just fun little dry fucking humoristic things like that. I love dry humor.
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean,
he's a good actor for that too. He plays the straight face, dry humor joke delivery lines real well. I'm surprised after, and I'm even surprised after like the OC shit. He didn't like Adrian Brody didn't like break out into a bigger star than he is.
Adrian Brody, or are we
Adam Brody?
Adam Brody. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because didn't Adrian Brody win an Oscar?
Yeah, no, the OC guy, Adam Brody.
Okay. Yeah. As soon as you said the OC, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh wait, that's a different Brody. Oh, wait a minute. That's kind of what I was thinking in the back of my head.
He was in Gossip Girls for a few episodes and shit as well. Like,
nice.
He was a little teen heartthrob kind of guy, but
yeah, I've seen him in a few things. I mean, he has a really recognizable like face.
Yeah.
So like that is actually a really cool kind of role. Like I'm kind of picturing some kind of strange like sort of like oddball type of thing of like a situation where somebody who's kind of like slow or behind or oblivious to something gets into like really intense situations or something, or complicated zany, I don't know. I'm curious to check it out. You make it sound interesting, so
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
okay. Did you watch anything recently, Zach?
I said the Judah and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
And
so
then
what did you, so do you want to say anything more about that, or
it's really good. Great performances all around.
okay,
I
cool.
definitely see it being like Oscar bait.
Yeah, like some people have mentioned that one to me a couple times, and like it sounds like something I would like. So, and like I like the cast. I mean, I'll definitely check it out. So,
is it a 2020 or 2021 movie?
Technically, I think it's 2020 because I did see that. I forget his name, but the lead was won a Golden Globe. I think. I think he just did. Like,
oh, okay, for that movie.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I gotta check. I forget. That just happened.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really follow the Golden Globes. Like I usually don't anyway, just because I don't know. Like I think they're kind of dumb. It's kind of just a bunch of people getting together and like getting drunk, and it's kind of fun, but like it's about it.
Did they do it in person this year? Like,
probably not. I would hope not, you know. Or if they did, it was probably like socially distanced or something.
Yeah, he won Best Supporting Actor. Daniel Kaluuya.
Kaluuya, yeah. Okay.
But other than that, I watched a couple more Tremors movies.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Nice.
How far along are you in those?
I watched through 6, and they just kind of keep getting worse.
Oh, dang.
I forget where I heard it. I was watching something about, and Tremors came up, and they said the original people are coming back to do like the next 2 or something, or did the last 2 that and they were okay. But
yeah, we'll see.
Well, I know that one guy was in the 3rd one, but I don't know if he kept on being in them after that. Like,
yeah, there's one guy that's in all of them that was in the original.
Oh, he must be the Tremors mascot.
Yeah, it's the guy with all the guns in the first one.
Ah, yes. Okay, the survivalist dude.
Yeah, he's the main character in all of them.
Okay. Does he do anything funny in any of them? Like,
not really. He gets like new sidekicks every movie. Like Jamie Kennedy is in 2 of them as his son. And then the last one, the most recent one, has John Heater.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
John Heater.
Yep.
Oh, I guess the last one came out in October of 2020.
Excellent. Dang. Oh man, so they just keep making more. It's like the Bring It On of horror or sci-fi. Like, it's like the Bring It On of horror sci-fi monster movies. You know, Tremors 1, Tremors 4, Tremors 8. You know, whereas with Bring It On, you have like Bring It On, then Bring It On again, All or Nothing, In It to Win It. Hashtag cheer
smacked. Worldwide or some shit.
Yeah, like there's just too many of them. So, well, I watched Sia's movie, Music.
Sia.
Yeah, I mean, I
love Survivor.
Yeah. I mean,
she gives out her own awards to her favorite players every season.
That's so cool.
It's awesome.
It's so cool.
I don't know any of her music except for she's a huge Survivor fan and gives out like
Yeah.
$100,000 to her favorite Survivor players of the season.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like Sia's music. I enjoy quite a few of her songs actually. You know, so, and I wanted to give her movie a chance. You know, I know a lot of people like a what?
Did she direct it or star in it, or
She directed it and she has a cameo appearance.
does she show her face?
She does, yeah, but not, it's only in like one part, like during one of the musical numbers. So you know, but I wanted to give it a chance because it was her directorial debut, and a lot of people like were crapping on it because she cast somebody who is, you know, non-ASD playing a person who's ASD, which as an ASD person, I don't really care, you know, personally. I mean, I can think of so many people who are ASD who act and who can play non-ASD people. Like, I think that, like, obviously people who are ASD should have the freedom to play ASD people, you know, because they do have their own stories to tell. But I think that if an ASD person is allowed to play a non-ASD person, then I think a non-ASD person is allowed to interpret, you know, what they feel an ASD person, you know.
I agree. It's a movie or like it's a story you're trying to tell. Like it's the same thing with people all hubbub about the LGBTQ community. Like they don't want straight actors playing gay actors, but gay actors play straight actors all the time, and that's okay. Like that's not fair. Like that's not, or it's a little hypocritical at least. I mean, come on. Neil Patrick Harris played one of the most straight guys in How I Met Your Mother for how many years? I mean, come on. He was like a womanizing motherfucker in that show. And in Harold and Kumar. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people they just need to be, you know, they need something to be at the front of their ire, you know. I don't know what it is, you know, but regardless, I wanted to give this movie like a shot just because, you know, like I don't know like what Sia's sort of perspective is on ASB, you know, so I wanted to be fair. But ultimately, like, it wasn't a very good movie, and I don't think filmmaking is really her forte. I'm just gonna say it. Like, it just didn't really, I don't know, it just didn't really feel like all that authentic or meaningful. And really, actually, what bothered me more about it, actually, it was less the fact that the autistic character was played by somebody who wasn't autistic. That didn't really bother me, and I thought she did fine, the Maddie Ziegler. But what bothered me more is the fact that, like, this movie totally didn't even need to have an autistic character in it. Like, that character didn't have to be autistic. Like, she could have been like a number of other different things. Like, her autistic, like her autism actually didn't have like any relevance to the plot whatsoever. Like, it added nothing to the plot. It just felt like it was sort of just thrown into the movie for no reason. But it's like really pointless. And that actually kind of bothers me more, you know? And I don't think like Sia's trying to be like offensive or anything like that. I think it's just bad writing, you know? But like, there's certain ways to tell stories like this. And I just feel like this one didn't really I just didn't really get what it was going for. It was kind of just about like Kate Hudson being like a former drug addict.
What was the name
being
of the
miserable
movie?
What was that?
What's the name of the movie?
Music. Kate Hudson is like a former like drug addict that she like gets out of rehab and has to take care of her sister, like, who's autistic, and it's about her trying to like do that, and it's like a lot of misery, and there's a subplot about this boy who wants to dance that should have actually been the main plot of the movie, but instead it was only like a brief part, and like it's really depressing, and that part actually interested me more than the main storyline. And then there's just like all this other stuff, and then there's also like certain ways that the film sort of depicts like the handling of autistic people, which like didn't quite, I don't know, I get what, again, I sort of get what they were going for because they were trying to sort of develop the characters and all that, but just sucked. I didn't like it. And I wouldn't recommend it ultimately. Sorry. But I do like Sia's music still. So. Oh, and then another thing I will say is that the music in this movie, like, and I actually heard the music in it before I watched the movie, but the music isn't even really any good. Like, the songs aren't even memorable. And I'm actually like fairly open-minded when it comes to like weird musicals, but like just the musical numbers in this didn't really like have any purpose. Like I compare this to something like Dancer in the Dark, where the numbers are very purposeful and actually have serious meaning to the plot. And I just feel like this is kind of just a major failure, and don't watch it.
Wasn't planning on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing until I saw your Letterboxd review.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like sharing my thoughts on things like that. So, all right. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about these movies that we've selected now. So the first one we're going to talk about is the one that I've chosen, which was the 2001, I believe.
3.
Oh, okay, yeah. Whoa, I was way off. The 2003. Excuse me. It's a Christian-produced family dog picture, starring Gary Sinise in sort of like a shaggy dog type of role. As a person who, what?
Busey, you mean?
Or I'm sorry, I said
I was like,
Sinise.
what?
Gary Busey. Oh no!
That would have been a completely different movie.
Can you imagine if this had been Gary Sinise? Oh my gosh!
It probably would have actually been good.
Oh man, yeah.
Probably not.
No.
It would probably be like more. Yeah, I mean, and God bless, Gary Busey, but it would probably be like more military themed, more than likely, because that seems to be like Gary Busey's main sort of type of movie he likes to be in, is military themed movies. Or Gary Sinise. Uh-oh. Yeah, totally different actor. Oh man. Okay, no, not Gary Sinise. Gary Busey, who we all know and love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
A regular on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys should follow him on Instagram if you don't, by the way. It's hilarious.
Will do. And actually, there was another movie I was going to choose that had Gary Busey in it, that I was originally going to choose besides this one, that had, I think it has, who does it have in it? It has Margot Kidder and somebody else who I saw like was in the part of the cast, and it made me laugh really hard. And now I'm not even remembering the title, but anyway, I put that aside because I saw the poster for Quigley and I fell in love. It's like, okay, Gary Busey in a family movie, a family dog movie. I gotta see this. Turns out it actually kind of resembles a movie that we've already talked about. My Boyfriend's Back.
Yeah.
Is it?
I was surprised all the way down to the Wizard of Oz ending. A character gets killed and ends up in a quirky situation where they have to, find something. And then they end up waking up, and yeah, the end.
It was all a dream. One of those movies I hate.
Yeah. But so I guess to talk about this one, so Gary Busey, he's kind of like a head honcho type of fella of like a video game company, I think, of some sort, or like some type of software company, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
They do something. They make video games, at least, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's their main product, but they do make them.
Yeah. Like all we know is what?
I was gonna say the building they're in is the Biodome from Biodome.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, okay, so yeah, so I mean, at one point, Gary Busey mentions CD-ROMs, or hey, did you check out my new CD-ROM game, or whatever he does?
VR CD-ROM.
Yeah, VR
Virtual
CD.
reality CD-ROM. Like, okay.
Yeah,
They don't really elaborate any more than just saying it's a VR CD-ROM game.
yeah. Pretty much all we know is that it's trash.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, even Gary Busey at one point said that. He says it is trash. Yeah, of course, with his crooked like expression, just walking through the fog, basically, which is what he always does, like in real life. Anyway, so this movie, the scenes where he's walking in the clouds, like I feel like that's the closest we're gonna get to like actually seeing the inside of what Gary Busey's mind looks like. Just awash and just, where am I? What am I doing here? So, but so he's some kind of head honcho software dude, and he doesn't like dogs, and he let's see, he gets into a car accident. I guess he doesn't like dogs, but he doesn't hate dogs either. Like he doesn't hate them enough to run them over. So he in an attempt to kind of avoid running over the dog, he ends up killing himself in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until we find out at the end of the movie that it wasn't. But
yeah, well, when he was in heaven, the angel did like say, but he didn't want to kill a dog, and one of the other angels was like, no, that was just a gut reaction. It was just a flinch. He didn't even. He would have. He was the illusion that he would have ran it over. It was just a reaction, split second reaction.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird call to make, because I mean, the guy just had kind of a nasty experience with a dog, just a few minutes before that, so like at that point he actually, like, I mean, obviously I wouldn't have said like, oh, he should have ran that dog over, but I can imagine somebody who was irritable enough slipping on dog crap and then getting like so angry that they want to run over a dog, and then they see a dog in the middle of the road standing right there not moving, and deciding, in anger, screw it, I'm gonna kill the dog. But
and Gary Busey falling on the poo right in the beginning, I think that was the only joke in the entire movie. Like,
I think so. The only intentional joke.
Yeah.
So this is a family movie, but I gotta say, for a family movie, it didn't really grab me until about halfway through. Up until that point, the first half of the movie is mostly just a kind of like dealing with corporate related stuff, I guess. Like, so Gary Busey he's like, he's in the clouds, and they're like, you can't get into heaven until you do until you do something. Like, he has to like find his purpose, basically.
The shittiest heaven set, by the way, too. It was like, you could tell it was just like a wall painted with clouds, like CGI mist or clouds to hide the fact how shitty the fucking set was.
And then just a couch.
A couch, like, wasn't it even just draped over with a sheet as well?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, the set design in this movie was pretty schlocky. And
I was gonna say, if you watch the Red Letter Media thing I sent you guys, it shows a special feature from the DVD of Gary Busey helping the set design people and just trying to throw the sheet over the couch.
I'm gonna watch it. I just wanted to wait till I watched the movie before I saw it.
I watched it before, and it made it seem so much better than it was.
That's awesome.
Well,
so
at least more hilarious than it was.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. I definitely will, though. I haven't watched a whole lot of those, but I'll watch that one for sure.
They're great.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, I need to get more into them. But yeah, okay, so yeah, just when you think this movie can't get any more wacky, who is it that shows up? I know it's somebody famous.
Oz Perkins.
Oz Perkins, yes. Oz Perkins shows up, and he's basically there to guide Gary Busey toward the path of goodness.
Oh, is that the angel guy?
Yeah.
I didn't know
and,
him. I knew his assistant guy is some nerdy actor that's in a bunch of nerdy shows and shit.
Oh,
Right?
I
Is that the
recognize him
same
too.
guy?
Yeah, I think he's Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, he has that weird voice kind of thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, Oz Perkins, aka Anthony Perkins Jr. Yeah, he probably the only sane part of this movie, even though his performance is he's mostly just there to do physical comedy and be really clumsy. He's like a clumsy angel. And he doesn't even know like what he's doing. Like he's like, oh, maybe if you do this right, you'll get into heaven. Like he doesn't even seem to know like what Gary Busey has to do to get into heaven. He kind of pretends he does, but I don't think he actually knew. Like I don't think the angels gave him that information. I think they
like I wrote down when his first objective. I don't know what his first objective was.
I guess to destroy the software and do good things.
It wasn't clear. There's just you got to go do something. They told him, and I wasn't sure. His second objective was more clear, at least. But...
yeah. I mean, in the first half of the movie, he gets into. I mean, at one point, he gets into sort of a weird sort of conflict with one of the janitors.
As the dog, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. So Gary Busey turns into a dog. Although what's cool about this movie is that like he manages to actually, because the one thing that I was pretty much ready was gonna happen was that like this movie was gonna kind of do the same thing that Ginger Dead Man did, where like Gary Busey like he shows up at the beginning and then that's it, and it's like, oh, that sucked. But in this, he actually like is pretty much he's actually in this movie like a lot.
Yeah, a lot more than I was expecting after the first few scenes.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a really interesting choice because this is a family movie, right? Just so we're clear. And I don't know, does Gary Busey have like much family movie presence? I mean, I don't know. Picture yourself being a little Christian kid watching this movie at Sunday school and having this odd, confused looking blonde-haired man show up on screen and not knowing who he is. What would your first reaction be?
Who's this crazy old man?
Yeah, right. I mean, he was at least toned down from his craziness a bit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
He still looked goofy for sure, but like, I mean, that's just Gary Busey looking goofy.
Yeah. When he fell into that bush in that one scene, I don't think that was on purpose because you could see him like starting to rage out for a second.
Yeah, I didn't think it was on purpose either.
Yeah, I
looked like he just tripped. I was like, ah.
Yeah, he was about to lose his shit.
Yeah, Gary Busey. I mean, he, I wouldn't be surprised if he, may have had a couple sips, before, here and there. I mean, we all know how it goes with Gary Busey. So, but yeah, so he does kind of end up. So as the dog, which is like a tiny little like Pomeranian, these bug eyes, like bug-eyed Pomeranian. And actually the dog, well, okay, I will say he was no Twister.
No, nothing will ever be Twister. Come on.
No. But I don't know. I mean, it had a few cute moments. I mean, it was an expressive dog. Like
Mhm.
there were actually a few moments where the dog kind of looked like Gary Busey a little bit, like he had the same face. And Gary Busey also does kind of have like the naked puppy jitters. You know, he does kind of tremble a lot, and he is a little bit twitchy, and you know, so the dog did kind of capture some of Gary Busey's mannerisms. So I you know, I appreciated it. You know, I didn't love it, but I give it credit.
Yeah.
So let's see. So he does end up kind of having a little bit of a, because he destroys the CD-ROM, and then the boss guy, who I'm not remembering the name of, the guy from Better Off Dead, who is, you know, just to kind of throw a little sneak peek out, he's in the movie that I'm going to choose for the next time we record. But anyway, he gets into like a romance with one of the employees, as there was, because I think it was they were coworkers, right? Like they were both like in charge of it or something like that, and they worked together.
The curly haired dude.
Yeah.
Curtis Armstrong. Yeah.
Yes, Curtis Armstrong is in the movie I'm choosing for next time.
Yeah, he was in Revenge of the Nerds as a booger, like you said, and he's all, what I know, he's from American Dad as Snot. That's how I know his voice.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, because I've been watching also New Girl. He's in a few seasons of that as Zoe Deschanel's boss.
Yeah.
So that I recognized him fairly well, but
yeah.
The only one besides him and Gary Busey.
Yeah. Oh, I'm familiar with Oz Perkins and a couple other people, but like they all pretty much deliver the goods in this. I mean, like the thing is, it's like we're talking about like a Christian produced movie, and so like we are working on a budget here. There's not really a tremendous amount that they can really do on a technical level, and it is a family movie, so pretty stringent conditions, obviously, this Quigley movie has. And eventually it does end up somewhat making good, although I don't know, I mostly found it really funny. I mean, like so when it gets into the family stuff where like Gary Busey is visiting his brother, who's played by Mr. Blue Lagoon, Christopher Atkins, that's when like the movie kind of eventually sort of has a plot, like has a point. But it's not like a propaganda movie or anything. It is trying to have like a good message, and it does manage to kind of have one, you know, about like helping people, which is a good message. I mean, that's a good approach to take with this kind of subject. But then they ruin it by having it all be a dream. It turns out Gary Busey's in a coma, and then he decides to reconnect with his brother, and his brother's like, what are you doing here? Because his brother is a video game developer, like, so
on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, his brother, so Christopher Atkins is basically a salt of the earth type of dude who's taking whatever labor work he can, and
a good family man, a good father, husband.
Yeah.
And Gary Busey shits on him for that.
Yeah, because Gary Busey is rich and his brother is not. He, his wife, and his kids, they live out in the country, and you know, they do their things, and you know, they're a good Christian family and all that. And Gary Busey decides to come back into their life by saving the life of the daughter in a freak car accident. And then he ends up saving her life again later on in the movie. And actually, probably the hardest I laughed at this movie, I have to admit, was when the daughter goes missing, and then it cuts to, that was so stupid. And then it cuts to that montage of like the dog walking in the woods, and then it cuts to the girl crying in the woods, and then it cuts to the dog walking in the woods, and then it cuts to the girl crying in the woods again. And it's like, so this girl just goes to the woods, and instead of trying to get out of the woods, she just sits down and cries. Like, I guess that's kind of.
And then like so she was getting lost. Like what I thought was real fucking stupid was she was getting lost, and there was like I'm assuming an original soundtrack that was basically a narration of, "Oh, I'm getting lost. It was like a song
I'm
about
so lost.
I'm
I
getting
don't
lost.
know
Take a
where
wrong
to go."
turn. I don't know what's going on." And then
Yeah, I
when
think all the music was original, but
and then when Gary Busey was saving her, it was like another fucking song about, "Yay, we're finding our way home." Blah blah. It was like, oh, what the fuck?
yeah, this movie was aiming for Homeward Bound, but I don't know. It ended up kind of resembling like Gordy or something like that. It was not good, so wasn't Milo and Otis bad. I'll give it that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I can think of more interesting dog movies, to be honest. And really, like, I don't know. I mean, Gary Busey, like, as much as I enjoy him, he can only do so much for a movie like this. Like,
Yeah.
so, in the end, I was still entertained because it was dumb enough, but it certainly wasn't a good movie. I mean, I didn't expect it to be, and I would say it was probably slightly worse than I expected it to be, but I'm still glad I chose it.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping more Gary Busey crazy, but again, Christian family film.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't go full Gary Busey.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't like was they took a stab at the video game industry. They were like, when they were explaining the husband's game, it was, "Oh, this is a game that even the kids' parents would let you play and shit." Like,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, video games are mostly bad except for these kind," which looked real dumb. It was just like animals skipping rocks on a pond. And they were like, "This is a really good game." Is it? What?
I mean, my sister, she actually, my sister creates like like video game software for kids, or at least is involved in the creation of it. And I do think that there is something of a industry there, but and I will admit, like, I grew up with some of these kinds of games too, like these really cheap, like crappy, like PC games that were made for early childhood, the EC rated games. I like to refer to them as those. I did play a few of those growing up, and like,
so did I.
Yeah, and they are like, that actually looked like slightly more fun than the ones that I played. I have to admit, like, at least that one actually had like full blown voice acting. It's like, whoa, oh my god, you actually have voice acting. You don't have mistranslated like verses and
Right, and they knew who was playing too. Like the little girl was playing, and it said her name, and right as she handed the controller off to her brother, it was like, "Oh, hey, Brian," or whatever his fucking name was.
Yeah, he's like a yo skater boy type of brother.
Yeah,
he's just there to give funny punchlines and get, again, one of those type of characters. And then what did the wife do? Like, I don't know.
Nothing. Freaked out when the little girl went missing.
Yeah, she yelled at the brother, "How could you let her go? She's, however, whatever." Like, I don't know. And she also like didn't like Gary Busey's character very much. Like, she's just like, your brother humiliated you last time you asked him for your help, or asked him for help, or whatever. Like, I don't know. I mean, the movie felt like it was written in 20 minutes, and probably was actually, like, to be honest. I don't know.
Shot over a week.
Yeah, quick shoot. Gary Busey was like, I'm game. Let's do it. Let's get your Quigley on." I don't know.
And I like the signs too they put up, because they were, they found Quigley, and they were like trying to find who the owner was, so they're putting up signs, and all the signs says found dog, really nice.
Really nice dog. Yeah.
There's no picture or anything. Found dog, really nice.
Oh,
Okay.
well, I'm gonna hope that was my dog. Yeah, the one that went missing, 2 months ago. Yeah, my dog was nice. Hopefully that's the one. But yeah, I mean, I did like it more than Ginger Dead Man, only because Gary Busey was in it more. But
Yeah.
that's about it. Like, I'll be generous because as a family movie, it wasn't that offensive. Like, I'll give it a 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm a nice person. I mean, like the thing is, like when it comes to a lot of Christian movies, it's tough because a lot of times they really aren't very well made. And I'm not trying to like knock the Christian film industry or anything like that. It's just they don't get the best kind of funding. They just don't. And like I also think that oftentimes like not the casting can be a complicated thing as well. And you do have to, like during the creation of that sort of thing, you do have to also sort of rely on the good graces of other people. So I've seen a lot of like really terrible Christian movies. This one is actually one that felt a little bit more well structured, and I think that, I mean, Gary Busey did sort of add something interesting to it, I feel like. So not to psychoanalyze Quigley, but
I mean, I'd only give it a 1. I was dumb.
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, same here.
That's okay. That's okay. Oh, well, anyway, so that was Quigley. So anyway, so for folks who, are Christian and enjoy movies like Quigley and watched this specifically to hear our thoughts on Quigley, all of you wonderful families out there, you should probably go to bed now because we're not going to talk about movies like that anymore. Now we're gonna talk about a movie from Japan that a lot of you folks probably aren't going to really want to hear us talk about or listen to. So you should go to bed now and have a good night.
Yeah.
But the next
But like
movie
and subscribe before you leave.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, please like and subscribe too. Thank you. So what was the movie that you chose, Zach?
I chose Tokyo Gore Police.
Excellent
And,
choice.
There sure was a lot of gore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like tidal waves.
It was, yeah, I was like the amount of blood spewing out of these bodies, like if you collected it all and put it back in the bodies, they would just like balloon out. Like,
Yeah.
like more blood in a body than is humanly possible.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, very watery, like very, very watery, like fire hose.
Yeah,
You
gotta love the Japanese splatter movies.
Yeah. I mean, it just gets all over everything. Everything is stained in blood. So,
It's like a Gore show.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I don't know. So I guess my question is like, how, like, I don't know. So what did you know about this movie before you watched it or before you chose it?
Pretty much just the title. Like, I've always seen the title for a pretty long time. I've always been curious.
Okay.
And when I was looking at 2000s movies, there was a lot of Japanese stuff. So
Excellent.
haven't seen one in a while. And yeah, now I want to watch more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this definitely did not disappoint on the entertainment level. I mean, but yeah, do you want to try to maybe explain like what it's about? Or
I have the plot summary.
Okay, yeah, I think we need it.
Yeah. Okay. So the film is set in a near future chaotic Japan. A mad scientist known as Key Man has created a virus that mutates humans into monstrous creatures called engineers that sprout bizarre weapons from any injury. Oh, that was the end of the sentence. Sorry.
That's no worries.
Yeah, the first guy we come across gets the chainsaw hand.
Yeah. That was like that pre-credit sequence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was intense because it kind of like immediately established like this is the language this movie is speaking pretty much. I think it's just going to be all about the carnage. You know?
Oh yeah. It started pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It was pretty much a live action anime.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Down from like, the fucking costumes, set design, acting, everything was just anime straight up.
Yeah, even the sound design, like when characters were
Sound,
getting
yep.
cut, it would
Yep.
be like,
The music too.
oh yeah, the music was cool. It was really upbeat, energetic.
And they did like the fast motion stuff, but actually did it well.
Yes, it was well edited. So.
The Tokyo police force has been privatized to deal with this new threat of engineers. So a special squad of officers called engineer hunters are created to deal with them. However, unlike the average police force, the engineer hunters are a private quasi-military force that utilize violence, sadism, and street-side executions to maintain law and order.
Yeah, so it's like a dystopian type of, I mean, maybe not entirely dystopian, but because, I mean, crime is pretty apparent. So it's like the mannerisms of, it's almost like a, what do you call it? Like if you combine like Robocop with Akira, I guess.
Yeah.
Like those two worlds,
I got the Akira vibes definitely from it.
Yeah.
That's why I like say a live action anime. It had like all that kind of shit with the cars looking all futuristic and whatnot, and
yeah,
the fucking soldiers looking like anime. They all just like anime characters. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was cool, and it was like it had like a what do you call it? Like a cheap stylishness to it, because like the costumes usually they only had like 2 or 3 colors, and you could tell they were made from like material that was like pretty simple to sort of put together, but it worked. It looked stylish.
Yeah.
Resembled the samurai suits.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the vibe they were going for with it.
All right. Helping the police force is Ruka, a troubled loner who is very skilled in dispatching the engineers. Along with helping the police, she is looking for the killer of her father, an old-fashioned officer who was murdered in broad daylight by a mysterious assassin.
Oh, yeah.
And that flashback was shown many times.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of like a revenge, like, I mean, it is kind of like at its core, I suppose, like when you sort of like dig through all the, the crimson, it is kind of a traditional sort of revenge story.
Yeah.
So.
Very brutal revenge story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she goes pretty hardcore. And I think it's that actor from Audition who, like, played I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie Audition, but it's like this it's this Japanese horror movie like that like doesn't exactly present itself as a horror movie. It kind of like unfolds like one, like, but it doesn't really unfold like one in the traditional way. Like it kind of just, it starts off as being more of like an intense sort of psychological drama, and then it shifts into horror film territory. But anyway, she's in that and she does a really good job. I'm pretty sure that's the same actor. So
yeah, it is.
okay.
Yeah, that one's been on my watch list for a long time.
Yeah, it's really, really creepy.
Okay, Ruka soon receives a new case to hunt down Keyman, but once she encounters him, he infects her by inserting a key-shaped tumor into her scar-riddled left forearm before disappearing.
Right. So they do kind of establish that she's like, she had like, because they kind of go over the whole like how like these like bodily mutations happen from like the characters mutilating their arms or whatever. And so like when they kind of established that, it was sort of like a matter of time before that ended up sort of being involved with the main characters. So.
Yeah, and you can only kill them by destroying the tumor.
Yeah.
I guess.
that's the
I didn't
impression
get that. I didn't notice that. I just noticed they like chopped them in half most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, that's the thing. Usually when characters got killed in this movie, they wound up in multiple pieces. It wasn't usually just and it wasn't all, it was never clean either. When people got like cut up, it was usually like really savage and messy. So
And there was also just one sub kind of plot, I don't know, subplot, but not subplot, but like there was like a whole cutting or self-harm
Oh yeah.
thing in the whole, like it was like a drug of some sort. Like there are advertisements for different friggin' knives that it had like those cheesy Japanese pretty schoolgirls like, this cuts better, this cuts well. Like
Yeah.
cuts the
Kawaii.
best. Yeah, that kawaii shit. Like, okay, for fucking items that cut yourself.
Yeah. It's like, oh jeez. But like those scenes though, I do feel like, because I mean I think this film was shot on digital video. I felt like the digital video kind of gave those scenes in particular sort of an interesting like vibe, like because it's like it's one scene, like it's one thing to watch like like an action movie or like a martial arts movie, like, but when you watch a movie like that when it's filmed on like digital video, like I don't know, it's just different for some reason. It just feels different. So
yeah. Like that police, I don't know what she was technically, but like the one that was giving her where to go next, she was like a police girl.
Yeah.
Very anime again, like
Yeah.
this is where you gotta go. Kind of shit. Like,
yeah. And actually, the way the film was structured too is almost like it was like a series of sequences. Like, it was like one action set piece after another. There was very little, like, as far as like plot development. There was maybe about 5 to 10 minutes worth, and then mostly it was just a lot of like really offbeat, just characters and like situations where they were chopping each other up or doing so. Like it kind of, the writing, it actually sort of reminded me almost like of like a young kid's like storytelling capabilities and approaches, like just because like I'm so used to that sort of scatterbrained approach from a lot of them. And so I'm watching this movie and you have like this one scene where it's like, oh, this guy goes into a room and then a woman shows up and she has a crocodile in her vagina, and then he gets his arm bitten off, but then he stabs another guy, and then a man pulls out a giant penis and with swords and all that, like, and all this stuff. And it was just like, it's just all this. I mean, that really is pretty much what the movie is like. It's just like,
we had two movies in a row with vagina denture.
Yeah, and I'd have to say this movie satisfied like what I was looking for more like than Teeth did, because Teeth, I mean, that was just kind of more simple sort of, well, not simple, but it was more of a comedy, whereas this movie was really savage and gnarly. Like, oh yeah, okay, cool, perfect.
Yeah, for everyone listening, everything he just mentioned actually happened.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, there was that guy with the deformed dick gun. He was like, he had just a giant ass mutated penis that was shooting people. It was fucking wild.
I think my favorite thing, my absolute favorite part was the acid shooting breast milk. Like,
yeah.
Where that woman, like, she suddenly was like, she busted out like acid breast milk, and except she seemed to call me crazy, but it seemed like she was shooting. Did she have 3 breasts? because
there was a third hall. I don't know if it was another breast.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seemed like there was like at least 3 things of acid shooting out. Like,
There were, yeah.
yeah. And so it was like, what the heck? And it hits that one lady in the face, and she's like, oh, and then like her face
Just melted.
Cartoony skeleton.
Yep.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like, my subtitles were messed up, so like I had no clue what was happening for most of this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I couldn't get them to work for some reason. I know like a little bit of Japanese, so I was able to get like the gist of like a couple things, but for the most part, I was like, I have no clue what's going on. So, you know, that happens to me some like occasion. That's the one problem with streaming.
Where'd you watch it from?
I don't even remember. I think it was on. I don't even remember where I watched it, but for whatever reason, the subtitles like weren't working, and I didn't feel like looking for another copy somewhere. So I was just like, nah.
Yeah, it was on one of those. I watched it off one of those Amazon Prime. They have a channel that it's on that you can subscribe.
Okay.
I subscribed to the free 7-day trial, watched it, and then unsubscribed. So my subtitles were decent, at least.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Mine, were all messed up. I don't know. Like they would show up like too early. Nothing would be happening, and then suddenly words would appear.
For me,
then,
that
like,
was Quigley. Quigley's were like a whole scene behind.
Oh, weird.
Like, well, not a whole scene, but a whole few sentences behind on Prime.
Yeah, that's where I watched Quigley. That happened to me too.
Huh. That didn't happen to me when I watched Quigley. For me, the subtitles were like spot on. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, "Oh, wow, they did a good job." Like, because a lot of times that sort of thing happens to me too. The subtitles will be off.
Yeah, especially on Prime. I've seen that happen
Yeah.
multiple times on movies we watched.
Yeah, that's a bummer. You know, it's the one thing that sucks about like watching foreign films on streaming is like having to deal with shitty subtitles sometimes. Like,
yeah,
you know, but overall though, I think I understood what happened. I mean, it's not that hard to follow, really. It's just
it wasn't too much going on.
Yeah,
it was definitely more of a visual movie.
Oh yeah, visual onslaught, really. It was just like nothing but plot twists and double crossings, and like the plot like just constantly jumps the shark. Like just when you think that there's even a remote sense of logic, it's just like, oh man, more outlandishness. Like, you know, it eventually develops into an interesting rhythm, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, honestly. And I've seen a few of those Japanese movies that kind of came out around that time. Like I've seen Machine Girl, which was, you know, really trashy, kind of in the same way this was. And there was the one I think I've mentioned a few times now, where like the two women have the sword fight and the swords are coming out of their butts, and the ninja stars are coming out of the armpits and stuff. Like, I forget what that one was called. And then there was what was it, Zombie Ass of the Living Dead or whatever, the one where the girl's butt gets glued to the toilet seat. Like, a lot of these movies are really ridiculous and goofy. And Tokyo Gore Police, that it might be one of the most insane that I've seen, actually, out of all of them. Like,
was that other one Mutant Girl Squad by any chance?
the one with the swords?
Yeah,
might have been. It was either that one or Roba Geisha.
Because Mutant Girl Squad is by the same director.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, it was. There's a few directors that make films like kind of like this, that are sort of like really outlandish and offbeat and bizarre. Anyway, do you want to read the rest of the plot summary?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's only like a paragraph left. Meanwhile, a police officer becomes infected while visiting a strip club filled with engineers and massacres the main precinct, causing the Tokyo Police Commissioner to order a citywide crackdown on engineers, indiscriminately executing anyone suspected of being one.
Oh yeah, so they were like performing like live executions in the middle of the street and like lining people up and doing it, and it was like, yeah.
Was the strip club scene, was that the one with the alligator lady?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, it kind of happened in one of the back rooms, and
Yeah, and then
like,
the weird like snail lady. There's
oh yeah,
Yeah, I had that one. That was fucking weird.
yeah. There was
By the way, does that one lady, which you know who I'm talking about, do those count as boobs in this movie? Like,
No.
okay, just wanted to check. All right. Anyway, go on.
While continuing her investigation, Ruka visits Keyman's house where he reveals the truth about their past. Oh yeah, but just want to mention this Keyman guy when he rips his fucking face off.
Hell yeah.
And like, I don't know what's up with his eyes. That just like they're pipes or something.
Yeah. Machine. It was like they're like gun barrels, basically.
Yeah.
That was
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was really unusual. Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was very imaginative. I mean, there were a lot of different little imaginative things going on, like, and just the way the characters die in this. I mean, there was even a part where a character gets drawn and quartered, like somehow in the midst of all that, this mayhem that happens too. Like,
right? I don't remember even who that was, but some girl gets fucking quartered by cars instead of horses.
Wasn't it like one of the police ladies or something? Or
I think it was her like mentor person that was at the bar that she kept going to.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
It's later on in the plot summary, I guess.
Oh, whoops.
Nice shit.
Yeah, and all of this is practical effects, by the way.
Yeah, that's another thing I liked was that, like, yeah, you could tell the effects, like that the blood, that you could tell that the blood was mostly like real, like not real blood, but like not cartoon.
Yeah.
Except for that one, there was one fight that was CGI.
Yeah.
One of the last fights.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one part at the end, but we'll get
to that. Yeah.
His father. What, are they talking about P-Man now? His father was a police sniper who resigned after a sniping operation gone wrong. Desperate to keep his family out of poverty, he was paid to assassinate Ruka's father, who was leading a rally against the privatization of the police force. But shortly after gunning down Ruka's father before her eyes, he was murdered by the police commissioner, the real mastermind of the assassination, in front of Keyman.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, like once they showed that was kind of like, all right, so now we get what the whole motivation is, you know.
Yeah. Not much going into it, but
yeah,
it's
probably
there.
wasn't even really necessary to the plot. But
and is Keyman the gun eyes guy?
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
I was gonna say, like, this is like a citywide problem, but it's only this one Keyman guy who's making all these engineers. Was that the whole thing?
I guess so. Like, the Keyman guy is the head honcho. He's like the top dollar. Like in The Crow, the Michael Wincott, I think that was the actor who played him. I guess he's supposed to be kind of like that guy. I mean, I maybe that's like not a good comparison, but like I don't know. I already mentioned RoboCop. I don't want to say that one again.
Swearing to avenge his father's death, he injected himself with the DNA of several infamous criminals, mutating him into his present form. Yeah, wasn't it like Gacy and
Yeah,
random
like
serial killers?
A bunch of sick dudes, you know.
I didn't
Gacy,
see who they were. Yeah,
I think I saw. I mean, I hope
Charles
I didn't
Manson.
Yeah, I saw Manson. I don't know if Dahmer was on there. I hope to God Albert Fish wasn't. But yeah, that part was interesting when they kind of threw that in there. I was like, okay.
After realizing that she and Keyman are seeking vengeance on the same man, Ruka slices him in half with her katana before heading back to the precinct.
Okay. That was cool. I always love a good, like, I don't know, good, like, sword. I mean, there were a lot of them in this movie, but that one was probably my favorite.
Yeah, there's a lot of having people right down the center.
Yeah, that's always fun. I don't know why.
Yeah, and just the blood shooting across.
Yeah. We've seen that in several movies, and I mean, but that's something I've even seen in the Lone Wolf and Cub movies used to be like they used to do shit like that too. Those are some of the goriest movies I've ever seen. Like collectively, you know, if you take all of those movies together, I mean, that's a lot. Like those are gory as hell, you know. So like they were doing that even as far back as those movies, you know, the whole like down the middle thing, you know.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's the best.
On her way, she witnesses the police force brutalizing citizens accused of being engineers. When her bar owner friend is drawn and quartered, Ruka's left arm mutates into an alien-like head with razor-sharp claws before she beheads the officers behind the execution.
That was cool. There's a lot of decapitations.
Oh yeah. During her rampage, she is shot in the right eye, but her body quickly replaces it with a cybernetic eye. She confronts the police commissioner, who admits to her father's assassination, but explains that he raised her to become the perfect engineer hunter as atonement. Following a grueling sword fight, Ruka dismembers and eventually decapitates the commissioner, effectively bringing down his reign on the police force. And then during the end credits, it is revealed that Keyman is still alive, having mended himself back into one piece with the help of one of his test subjects, which I did not see.
Really? Yeah, he puts on his head again too. Like they somehow got his scalp and put it back on over his gun eyes. And then they just walk away and suggest there's more. It even says more gore coming or something like that.
So sequel.
Yeah.
Maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't matter, I guess. I mean, it doesn't really need one, but I'm not going to say no to one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that final fight scene too was the CGI we were referring to as that pet thing that the commissioner had grew sword legs. Like at first she was just like cut off at the elbows and knees and crawling around like that, and then the rest of her hands and legs were replaced by swords, and she was flipping around. That was like a CGI. She's flipping around the ceiling and walls and shit.
Yeah, and then also
the CGI part of it. Yeah,
and then also all the blood shooting out, like the blood that was like the blood was making him fly in the air. Like the blood was carrying him in the air.
Yeah. He had blood rocket boots, is what I call them.
Yeah, blood rocket boots that were literally like lifting him. The blood lifted him. That's how much blood was in this movie. It was enough to lift someone.
Yep, propulsion.
Yeah. I mean, when they called when this movie was titled Tokyo Gore Police, I mean, the emphasis on gore, it's no joke. so, I had a lot of fun with it. I liked it a lot. I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Oh, for
It
sure.
was fun. There was that also that one weapon that eye patch dude used that was just a Gatling gun with fists in it.
Oh yeah, with the fingers.
Yeah, he was just first shooting fists, and then he like made it stronger to shoot middle fingers at people.
Yeah.
And somehow her claw arm shot like a tongue out, and it whipped all the middle fingers back at him. I was like, what's
yeah. Oh, that was my other favorite part was the fingers, like how they would like the slow motion, and how like somehow the tongue would make them like travel backward. Like there was no physical logic to it, but somehow like.
And they didn't show just one; they had to show like every single one of them doing it.
Yeah,
yeah. And then he gets impaled by all of them. Just all of a sudden, it's like okay, it's like a cartoon.
Yeah, anime, man. It would have worked on anime.
Oh, totally. Anyway, but yeah, I still haven't seen that one movie, Meatball Machine. I still never saw that one.
Yeah, I have that. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
apparently the director did the special effects for that.
Oh, nice.
Which he did the special effects, directed, and edited this movie.
Nice.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. I think I need to. I don't know. I'd probably be up for watching more movies like this, because I'm always into like weird, high energy type of strange, like messed up stuff. So.
Yeah.
Zany and bizarre. Just, gotta love it. So.
Yeah, I hadn't watched a movie like this in a while, and I love them, so I need to watch more.
Yeah.
This was good.
Yeah. Recommended for sure. So.
Yeah.
Probably give it like a 3 or a 4. I don't know, something like that. So.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5 as well.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, Tokyo Gore Police. Recommended. Unless you don't like boobs, or unless you don't like blood and cut up boobs, because that was like that was the thing that I was gonna like, because there was that one part with the stripper where like her boobs were gone, like, and it was just like, I don't know,
So
just kind of
shit. It was fucking weird.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff in this movie. So. Yeah. All right. Cool. So Tokyo Gore Police. It was good. And then I guess the last one we're going to talk about is the one you chose, Nick.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Did you take a lot of notes?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
I took my notes. All right.
Nice.
This one is called Mutant Chronicles.
Yeah.
I'll put my glasses on so I can read my notes better.
Yeah. I gotta say, like when you said Tokyo Gore Police, and I said like emphasis on the word gore. With this, it's like emphasis on the word Chronicles. So
yeah, less on mutant.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what was this 2007 or something?
Yeah. So why did you choose this one?
Oh, it was just a random pick.
Okay. Cool.
I saw Thomas Jane and Ron Perlman were in it, so I was like, oh, I like both of them. Why not?
Yeah, cast was pretty solid. I'll give it that. So.
Yeah. Yep. So it takes place in the future. Like there's a very brief but confusing exposition that I was like, wait, hold on, I don't oh no, I'm already lost in the first narration. I don't know what's going on. But
Yeah.
apparently the entire world's basically just 4 countries now, or entities split up, which doesn't
Yeah.
really matter at all.
Yeah.
No,
At all.
it actually has no relevance to the plot.
No, it takes place in 2007 was, I think, one of the
Yeah.
little crawls.
Yeah, something like that.
The first scene was a war between one of these 2 warring nations, which was awful. We just shot like shit. Couldn't tell what the fuck was going on. It was all close up and just bad.
Too much CG rain.
Yeah, CG.
Yeah.
This whole movie was CG. It was like shot in just a green screen background. Like
Yeah.
everything was green screen background, and it was just like, and it was gray, real gray and bleak darkness.
Wicked.
Like
It was so washed out.
Yeah, one thing I felt they were kind of going for was like a Sin City look, because
Yeah.
it was real gray, but there were some pop out colors. Like Ron Perlman was a monk, a druidic or Gaelic monk,
Hmm.
and his robe was all super red, but like everyone else was like, the background, everything was super like gray and shit, and the blood was super vibrant red when there was blood, and even
Yeah.
Thomas Jane at one point had like a golden tunic that popped out and shit like that. So I felt they were going for a little bit of, I don't know if, I'm assuming it was after Sin City. So they went with a little bit of, and Devin Aoki's in it as well. And she's in both of them, so it's a little
Yeah.
high, and so visually it was not fun to look at, really.
Yeah.
Like Sin City was good looking, but this one wasn't, but it went for the same vibes, I feel, visually.
Yeah, I think so. Like, because this movie totally could have been in black and white. Like,
Yeah.
and it probably actually, like, I mean, it would have had at least a little bit of an interesting sort of style, I guess, if it had been black and white. And maybe that would have, I mean, if they had managed to maybe like have decent enough lighting, they could maybe work with the contrast enough to have it not look as artificial, as long as they maybe like took out enough like CGI rain. I mean, there's ways to do this kind of thing in black and white to make it look effective. You know, Guy Madden, the filmmaker, he does it all the time. So it is possible. So
Yeah, so the first scene, I guess, is a war. Yeah, like I said, a trench warfare between these 2 warring nations.
yeah, which was bad, but I still enjoyed it.
It was so bad.
I mean, I still enjoyed, like, for some reason I enjoy the idea of like battlefield like exposition. I don't know. Something about battlefield exposition is really exciting to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So.
I mean, and there was just this. I don't know if it was before or after. Well, I'll go. Okay, so they eventually like are blasting the ground, killing people in a war, and then they open up this gate thing, which was, I guess, a seal to an underground, I don't know, demonic hole thing.
Yeah.
Fucking, I don't know. It's explained that there was, I don't know, a war in heaven, and these things were sent down, kicked out of heaven and sent down there and sealed down.
Okay.
Ron Perlman explains that in that book he has or some shit, and that war opened up the seal, and these mutants during this war scene, these mutants start coming out and killing everyone, both sides. And one awful fight scene I was with Thomas Jane and like one of the other war commanders, and it was like just shot so horribly. Like I was like,
yeah, that was bad.
It's just so like just that, like it was like a fist kind of fight scene, and there was no
like
choreography. It was like one shot of him punching, and then it was just cut to the other side of the other guy punching. It was just stupid shit.
Yeah, it was
and they
crap.
And they were eventually like, they were like, holding knives to each other, and arguing, oh, you guys killed my guys with these fucked up things or something, and they were like, no, it wasn't us, it was you guys. And then eventually everyone, like, they had, like, their platoons behind them, holding them back, and then everyone's just started getting murdered by these mutant things, and then everyone started booking it. Thomas Jane made it out of a helipad, had to leave one of his best buddies behind. Nate was the character's name.
Yeah, it was like an emotional moment too.
Yeah, he was like, he had a wife and daughter. He's like, take care of the girls for me. And
he said it just like that.
we never see him die or anything, but
no.
Eventually it's cut to, I don't know, a few days, few hours, few weeks later.
Which, by the way, can I just quickly just say real quick, like, every 5 to 10 minutes this movie changed into something else. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like at the beginning it was like a war movie, and then like 10 minutes later it's taking place inside of like these fancy sets and like a palace looking area with people in robes, and then the next minute it's like, or the next like 10 minutes later it's all technical and shit, and like it felt like there was a lot of different set pieces that were animated for this movie.
CGI. They were all just in front of green screens with very few props in front. They're standing next to, like, pretty for the much. Entire movie.
And I can't help but wonder, like, because I think this was based on some kind of source material. Like, I don't know if it was a comic book or like a RPG.
It was a tabletop role-playing game.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, it would explain why the title sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. Mutant Chronicles.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen like an ad for Mutant Chronicles I mean, not for this movie specifically, but for Mutant Chronicles, like for, whatever it is.
So. I've never heard of it. Yeah, I didn't know it was based on anything, but I could tell it was by watching it. Sure, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So maybe if I don't know, like, because when I was watching this movie, like, I mean, I wasn't really following it, but I was kind of enjoying the gore and some of the action scenes, even though like a lot of it was pretty dumb. But I couldn't help but feel like there was something about it I wasn't really quite getting. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I think it might be like a little bit more of a singular, like, I was thinking, because it kind of reminded me a little bit of that movie I chose, Blueberry, some time ago, which is like that it's like that weird French movie also known as Renegades, like, which was sort of when I chose it, I thought it was going to be kind of like a stylish, like a weird, like, B movie Western type thing. And it ended up being like a drug trip.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mutant Chronicles kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Like, although totally different type of movie, but it just felt like a movie that was made for a specific type of like audience, I think. I don't know. Like,
yeah. Sometimes it's more like an action movie, I guess, would be the audience this was directed for.
Yeah, like it kind of felt like you remember those old shows that used to come on about like people having to like fight evil aliens and stuff, and they were usually animated, like 3D cartoons and stuff like that. This almost had that sort of vibe going on, and I can't think of any examples of that type of thing off the top of my head, but I know those existed. Maybe you guys sort of know what I'm talking about, but like,
so.
What?
I think so. I think I know what you're going for.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any examples, but like Robo something, or like Troop. I don't know. Like I'm sure there's something that exists. But anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway. Yeah. It was just driving me nuts when I was watching this though, because I was like, oh man, this almost feels like one of those shows, but like what show? Like I don't know. Anyway, so
I got the vibes also of fucking Dungeon Siege, because it was, I guess, I mean, Ron Perlman, but also kind of them going on a quest. It was very like, I can definitely understand that the source material was a tabletop. It was very like video game / game. They had to go to a point and destroy the
point A to
bad
point
guys
B.
base. Yeah, it's it's the quest you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this was. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was kind of yeah.
Interesting, at least. I mean, so after the whole fight, it's known that these mutants are out just fucking everyone up, and they're evacuating the entire Earth apparently to Mars. It seems everyone's there's a whole ticket system. Fucking Thomas Jane had to relay to his buddy's wife that he died or is missing in action. He didn't say he died.
Right.
But he's also recruited by, like, there's a recruiting scene of these, just a general recruiting scene of the task force that's going to take out this problem, and all of them are gifted with 2 tickets out of the world, or to get out of Earth. And he gives them to, like, everyone basically gives them away that's recruited for the team, and he gives them to his buddy's wife and daughter, because he made a promise to take care of him, and that's how he did it. He was, good guy, that Thomas Jane.
Yeah, he's an all-American hero. Ever since Deep Blue Sea, it's like he can be the action star any day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the crew assembles. They're going on a mission. On the mission.
Yeah, this ragtag group.
This ragtag team.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned Devin Aoki's in it, and like you mentioned earlier, that there's a connection with the next movie you're picking, and she's in the next movie I'm picking as well. So
awesome.
So
wonderful. All right.
But anyway, they're all there. There's a Ron Perlman, the monk guy, a couple other soldiers, and then it was a mute. She's a mute monk that follows Ron Perlman around, like her little helper, but she's mute, but she's a assassin type lady too as well. She, like, they had like a chained up mutant that she fucked up. So she had some fighting skills, even though she was a mute monk. I thought she was interesting. But anyway, so they start their mission. They're going on a spaceship to wherever they're going, and then somehow one of the mutants boards the ship and attacks them, blows their shit up. They go through an escape pod that they shoot out, and one of the guys was like, "No, we can't deploy our chute or it'll blow up." And I'm like, okay, makes sense, I guess. But then the escape pod just blasts through a fucking tower, like a building. I was like, are you sure you shouldn't have put it out? And he's like, and even after it blasted through, he's like, no, hold. And then eventually they pop it out, and it seems to do absolutely jack shit anyway, because they crash real hard into the ground. And
that was
the fucking pilot of that spaceship is also impaled because of going through the building. Some shrapnel fucking impales him, so that guy kind of fucked up.
I mean, they had to get to the next level somehow, I guess.
Yep. So who's to say if holding out on that parachute was a good idea or not? But I mean, they were going pretty fast, so maybe he was right, but who knows. It worked out in the end. Only the pilot died on that one.
I guess it's better than nothing.
So they got to make, like, Ron Perlman has that. It looked like, he got this book from like a pedestal with swords around it, and at first I thought it was like like King Arthur shit, because it had like it looked like it was like a,
That's what I thought too, actually.
like
Yeah.
there was like a sword hole missing inside of the book that he opened. So I was like, oh, is this some King Arthur shit? They didn't really say and if it was or not, but I assume it was, since it was like a Gaelic religion type thing that Ron Perlman was with.
They
But
did try to
anyway.
kind of keep making that weird connection, to legends or something like that. So.
Yeah. So yeah, in this thing had a map, or they had a map to where they had to go. They're showing us where they had to make it through the city, which I guess was already taken over by these mutants and shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was
It's to be expected, I guess.
Yeah, action scenes and stuff throughout that.
Yeah.
And the way under there, I don't fucking know why. Like, the way under, I guess, was they are going through like some elevator shaft. Is the next little set piece. And the guy that fucked up the parachute was stayed behind to guard them because they were, what's it called, rappelling down that elevator shaft. I don't know, nothing too special happens except for the elevator shaft, or the rope was too small.
Yeah.
Typical mishaps in a little typical mishaps throughout the whole movie, really, but that was one of them.
Yeah.
And then they all have to, get out, and because there's monsters climbing up through the holes and shit. But he saves them by jumping in the elevator that was, I don't know, dysfunctional, and then it just drops and explodes and kills all the monsters that they were fighting back. They were almost dead. That was a little action scene.
Yeah. I mean, there were a few little moments where they had to like kind of escape a situation.
Yeah, a lot of self-sacrifices. Like, almost every death was a self-sacrifice.
Pretty much, yeah. Which, I mean, kind of means that they're sort of easy to kill. Like,
kinda in ways. Like when they had that first one chained up to show, they were just pumping it full of bullets, and it's like, yeah, they don't feel it or bullets unless you like, Swiss cheese. They didn't say Swiss cheese, but like alluded to, yeah, you just have to fucking Swiss cheese them, or will swords work?
Yeah.
And what did the Latino soldier, I forget what he called it, but it was basically he had a funny name for it, and then it was like phosphorus,
white phosphorus or something
white phosphorus.
like
Yeah.
They
That's
tried to
another
make
way
it
to
into
call
like
it.
like a joke or something.
Yeah. So lighting them on fire, or just cutting them up works, but not shooting them.
Yeah.
So they get down. So they're eventually, down in the crypts, making their way. So they have a bomb that they're going in, because the crypt is called the Machine for whatever reason throughout the movie.
Right.
Which
I remember that, yeah.
Which I didn't understand until the end, because it's where they take humans and make them into those mutants, which is, I guess, why they're called mutants, because they're humans at one point. And
yeah, it's a messed up idea.
Yeah, and and again with that fucking test subject they killed, like right before it died, the human came back and was like, oh, and like the lady said, and like they said, oh, I saw the human he was before he was turned. So there's still humanity in the mutants. But anyway,
that was messed up.
Yeah. Little interesting tidbit. But when they're down in the crypts, Thomas Jane sees his buddy that he, left and sent his wife and kid away. And he goes on his own little solo rescue mission like a douche. Like, which was full of little plot holes. Like, of course, he was being dragged away behind all of the other, like, because there was a whole, like, brigade of the mutants dragging humans away, but this Nate guy, this soldier that he wanted to save, was well behind the other ones, so he had ample opportunity to save him. But they were in a cavern, and the way he killed the mutant was he shot like a stalactite thing, and it impaled the thing and killed him. And I was just thinking, could not these mutants hear a gunshot that would, I'm assume, echo loud as fuck in a cave?
Yeah.
But no. And you could kind of, and you could even see the mutants in the like far distant background still. And so he temporarily saves his buddy, but he's bleeding out and shit. And he's
And again, it was kind of another sort of distraught moment, although that one worked a little bit better, I felt like.
Yeah, but again, like he's dying and he does a mercy killing with a gun again in a cave.
Yeah.
And they even had the loud echo gunshot. I was like, are they coming? No, nope.
No, I guess not. So
yeah. So Thomas Jane went on his own to save that dude, and the rest keep going on their mission. And shit gets fucked up. I
saw that coming.
Yeah,
although it was kind of a relief when it finally did happen,
Yeah, it was. So they were in this room that was like Lord of the Ringsy, like that.
Yeah.
More was that fucking
the You Shall Not Pass room.
Yeah, that mountain of whatever the fuck they call it, because they were they were walking on like fucking high up on stone walkways, just wide enough for one person. And eventually, eventually, like there was like a German type character soldier that fell off, and they were like, "No, we can't. He's gone. Let him die. Whatever." And Devin Aoki, she's like, "No, we gotta save him." So they all just jump down and start. They all just jump down and start fighting and saving.
Yeah,
that kind of shit happened. And that fight is where that fight is where mostly everyone dies too.
That's what was so funny about it, was everybody died just because one person decided that everybody should go back and save that person.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
that's great. I just love when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, the guy, the Latino soldier that was using the white phosphorus blows up this German soldier dude along with himself. He just blows fucking himself, a bunch of the mutants, and the German soldier up. Well, he didn't blow the German soldier up. He just like singed half his body off.
Oh yeah, which is like, okay, at that point.
Yeah, because again, there's that guy again self-sacrificed himself with some grenades after the fact. After Thomas Jane finds them, because that's what led Thomas Jane back to him, is the explosion of the white phosphorus guns and everything. You're like, oh, okay, they're over there where that explosion just happened. I'm assuming.
If you're gonna self-sacrifice, make sure you don't take out your teammates. Like,
oh well.
Yep. Whoops. Faux pas.
So and all the while, and during that fight, Ron Perlman dies.
Oh yeah, that was a bummer.
Unfortunately, but after that, the mute girl finally starts speaking. For I don't know why. She doesn't even really know why, it seems. She's just,
I didn't get that. What were they trying to do?
I can speak now again. I don't know why. And then Thomas Jane had kind of, because she didn't really help. She still could have stayed mute, really. But Thomas Jane like picked up the tattered books and was trying to figure out how to finish the job. And he's like, "Can you read this?" And she was like, "No, I can't even read." Like at all. It was the implication. Like, I can't read English, not just this Gaelic shit either. It's like, oh, okay. And the book was in tatters, so it's like, what the fuck? Like,
it's like even worse.
But they eventually made and while Thomas Jane was getting there, he was like stuck on the conveyor belt, apparently, of what they create the mutants with. Okay. I thought that was a nice, decent little scene. It was like,
I like that.
He gets all chained up, and there's this fucking pokey machine that it poked him and injected him with some shit, but he eventually, uses it to break his chains and shit. And then once he gets back to the crew, they're all like, "Are you a bad guy? Is that you?" And then he's like,
"No."
no, what do you fucking think? Something like that. And he even
Yeah.
does like he cuts his arm open, sucks out whatever the fuck they injected it into him, like a snake bite venom shit. And I mean, he's half mutant now, basically looking. His face is at least,
Yeah.
but he's human still, I guess. That
Yeah.
sucking out the snake bite venom works with that shit too. So
Yeah. They could have tried to do like an Evil Dead 2 type of thing where he like goes back and forth between like being like a mutant and being human. Maybe like I don't know. Like maybe that would have been too crazy. I don't know.
It
I
might
mean,
have
they
might have been a little more interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if I had written this, I would have done it.
There just wasn't enough time. Like this was near the end. Like this movie, for being almost 2 hours, kind of flew, in my opinion. After at least once they started on their mission, at least.
I was gonna say,
once they got in the spaceship, it started going real quick.
Yeah, once the plot actually started like happening, like that's kind of because up until that point, it was mostly just a lot of backstory and world building, you know. So
yeah, which was world building for fucking what point? It didn't matter.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna do it and then only have it just dissolve into like a simple sort of like, you know, kind of adventure situation, you know, or like a gunhead type movie. I mean, there was really no point to even do any of that world building other than to kind of show off visuals that weren't even that impressive.
Yeah. Yep. So this is around the end. They make it to this is pretty much the end scene. Is they make it to the core thing, and they're carrying a bomb that is some type of special bomb they have to protect the whole time. And they make points of it, like, oh no, protect the bomb, you know, whatever, whatnot. They make it there. They're fighting off hordes of these mutants. And they don't know how to use the bomb because it's like some Gaelic rune type bomb. He's like fucking around with it. He puts the big piece in. He puts the bomb in first, I guess is what the bomb was. It was like a giant circle with that looked like a rune. And then they're like, fucking put the detonator in the hole. And there was like 6 holes, and he's like, I don't know which one. And he's shoving it in all of them. And he finally gets it in one, and it's not working. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand how to blow it up. Meanwhile, fucking Devin Aoki dies trying to fight him off.
Yeah, another sacrifice.
Yep. So it's just him and the mute chick left. And then like Ron Perlman, he shows back up as the mutant.
Yeah, he's all mutated now.
He's all mutated, and the mute tries to like, she's, you know, I see you in there, whatever his fucking name was.
Oh, I have to admit this part was kind of funny.
Yeah, I saw like, you're dead, bitch. I'm like, come on, don't do this.
Yeah, she's like, I can see the true you or whatever.
Yeah, and like it's
a
just a close up of
moment.
it's just a close up of both their faces, you know, back and forth, and it looks like he's, you know, coming through, but nope.
Yeah.
He just fucking stabs her and kills her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, no, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna quickly say, I mean, this movie, I mean, I liked that. That was cool, you know, but you know, and I thought it was pretty funny, you know, but it didn't occur to me until just now that The Force Awakens kind of tried to do the same thing, like with the Han Solo.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me.
Yeah, yep.
And so like, I don't know, maybe Star Wars The Force Awakens was ripping off Chronicles.
Makes sense.
Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, so the last fight was Thomas Jane and Ron Perlman duking it out.
Yeah.
And I don't get how, but somehow there was a sword. I don't know where the sword came from.
Yeah, and what it was meant for.
But it like conveniently landed on top of one of the pages of that rune, the Gaelic book that they were using to.
Yeah.
And it was literally just like,
I noticed that
flopped on top of a page, and it matched the outline of the detonator. And then he was like, oh, okay. So he takes the sword and stabs into the detonator, which was the key to turning it on.
Yeah.
And
I don't know where the sword came from either.
I don't know where the fuck that thing came from, but
It just dropped from the sky, I guess.
yeah. Some Harry Potter shit came out of a hat dropped by a phoenix.
Yeah. Which Harry Potter team would Thomas Jane be on though? Like, would he be Hufflepuff? I bet he's a Hufflepuff.
He seems like a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I think he's a Hufflepuff. Let's face it, he's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah. And then so that's
yeah.
basically the end of it, but it wasn't a bomb, if you'd noticed.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't.
I don't know what the fuck that was. It turned into a spaceship instead. It just shot off into space. I was like, what does this mean? What is this doing? And then it ended. It didn't explain what the fuck that spaceship was. Just ended right there. As
that
bomb turned into a spaceship and shoot it out into outer space.
This movie made me confused. I must admit, like that ending. Yeah, it was confusing.
And there was, there's of course, little like Ron Perlman being a monk was like, have faith, and there was a fucking quote that Thomas Jane said was, "I'm not paid to believe, I'm paid to kill." Earlier in the movie, I wrote that one down because that's a little action line of, okay. But as Ron Perlman was dying as a mutant, he was like, jump. He was telling, because the ship was launching, he would have gotten blown up, and it was above just a chasm, and Ron was just like, jump, have faith, jump. So Thomas Jane just jumps, and there's a body of water he jumps into underneath and lives. Yeah, he's the only one that lived the whole movie.
Yeah, Thomas Jane is the only one that doesn't suck at surviving.
Yeah, in multiple movies, The Mist,
Yeah. Oh yeah, The Mist. You're right. He definitely doesn't suck at surviving in that movie. Anyway, I mean, it was confusing and dumb, but I still enjoyed it.
It went by fast for something stupid. So
yeah, I could picture like putting this on in the background or something, like while like playing cards with somebody, or I don't know, maybe playing a tabletop game.
Right? Yeah. Playing some fucking Mutant Chronicles while it's in the background.
Yeah, it's like, hey, dude, you want to watch some Mutant Chronicles and shit, dude? Like, and like, there you go. I don't know. I'd watch it again. I mean, it was dumb, but I pretty much expected it to be kind of schlocky, and like there were some pretty entertaining moments, and some of the visuals were all right. Like I liked some of the weird fire stuff that happened at the end, and like also I like Thomas Jane, I must admit.
Yeah,
like,
I love
even
Thomas
though like yeah, like the character probably could have been played by like anybody, but I'm glad they got Thomas Jane because I don't see him enough in these types of roles, and so yeah.
John Malkovich was in it for a brief cameo too.
Yeah. He's like, okay, this movie Mutant Chronicles. He just appeared not knowing what it is, and appears in one scene and gets a paycheck.
And like it was his excuse for not going out, like taking the space shuttle out of, or like it was during the Earth evacuation. His excuse was like, my digestive system doesn't work in no gravity. So he's like, yeah, I won't be able to take shits or something. That was the implication. I won't be able to take shits in space, so I'm gonna stay down here and die.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I this movie definitely, the people who made it definitely don't like human beings. So and it's kind of like when you watch a movie like Piranha, and just there's so much needless death in it that you kind of reach a point where it's like, okay, the people who made this movie must not be people type people. Like they must not really enjoy people in general. They must not enjoy the human race. You know?
Yeah.
I got the same vibes from this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone died almost at once during that fall cavern scene.
Yeah.
And
they all died because of their own stupidity too.
Yeah.
Like every single character. Like,
Yeah.
they just had to make one stupid decision and that was it. Like,
Yep.
Alien Covenant was that way too. Two different characters slip on the same blood puddle. I love it. Anyway, but yeah, I still enjoyed it. I'd give it maybe a 2 or a 3.
Yeah, I'd give it a 2.5, right down the middle.
Nice.
Watchable, definitely watchable.
Yeah, not horrible.
I gave it a 2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing that bugged me the most was just the green screen. It was all green screen. I was like, it's totally fucking stupid.
I could see this story or source material being good if it was in the right hands, like especially as like a series maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And it's possible that maybe that's why I got those kind of that kind of TV show vibe from it. Like the 3D animated space TV show. Like, I don't know, maybe that's why I got that kind of vibe from it, because I feel like maybe, like you said, maybe it would work better that way. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on it you want to share besides that?
Pretty much it. I mean, it was okay. Definitely not the worst thing we've watched.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it was a good time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that's it. So yeah, now I guess on to our choices. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first, since it was since I mentioned it. It's another Devin Aoki movie.
Yeah.
And I actually own this one, guys.
Okay.
From us. It is Dead or Alive. Another video game movie.
Wonderful.
And Dead or Alive has a special place in my heart, actually, as a video game franchise.
Okay.
And just one thing I want to mention about the there's a tagline cover. It says the best movie adaptation of the video game so far. I just like how it says so far. Like they're like, no, this isn't good, a good one, but it's the best one so far.
They're willing to give it that credit.
Yeah.
I can't wait. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Excellent. Dead or Alive. Okay. Should I go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I've mentioned this a few times, I think, and I don't know, I've been kind of tentative about choosing it, but I'm just gonna choose it because I don't care anymore, because I want to step it up. I'm choosing Southland Tales, starring The Rock, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Sean William Scott.
I have this movie.
Oh, excellent.
I think I have a bookcase or a movie case right next to me. I think it's in that. Looking for it right now.
Cool. Right.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm choosing that one. I haven't seen it for like 10 or 12 years or something like that. I've seen it before, and I remember it being, kind of a dumpster fire, but I don't know. 10 years later, who knows? Maybe my tastes have changed, and maybe my feelings on the movie will have changed as well.
I mean, I remember it being good, I thought, but also I was younger when I watched it, so maybe I just had lower standards.
Well, I mean, I think when I watched it, it went over my head. I think that's I don't think I had a good grasp of what was ultimately what it was trying to do. So I think now I have a better idea of what to expect. So I'll give it a shot.
I haven't seen it yet.
Nice.
So.
Nice. 2 movies I don't have to rent then.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, and you mentioned that you had gotten it, Zach. So yeah, that was another. I was curious, like, what you would think of it. So yeah, Southland Tales. I'm going with that one. So.
Right. I have a couple options. Do you guys feel like doing more weird Japanese shit?
Sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Okay. Well, then I'm going with the same director. Since you guys
All
have a little eye into this episode too, I'll do Mutant Girl Squad.
Cool. All right. Mutant Girl Squad. I like the title.
Yeah, it looks just as bizarre as Tokyo Gore Police.
Yeah, I may have seen it, but I'm not positive. I don't know, because like I said, I've seen a few of them, so I'll know once I've started it whether I've seen it or not. I'm looking forward to it. So
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, until next time, have a good night, everybody, and peace out.
Yeah, have a good one.